January 2nd.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rennie?
Here.
Inman?
Here.
Thomas?
Yep.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Lathrop?
Yes.
Limcool?
Yes. All present accounted for. Next on the agenda is public comment. Is there anybody from the public who would like to comment? Next on the agenda is the election of the vice chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Commissioner Sonny Wheelock as the 2014 Vice Chairman of the Board of Commissioners.
Do I have support?
Sure.
Have support. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next is the approval of the agenda. I'd like to make a switch on the agenda. The item number 6 and item number 9 to be switched. If we could, please.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would move for approval of the agenda as amended.
Support by? Support. Wheelock. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next is the change on the agenda, the approval of schedules, monthly meeting dates and times. As you noticed, that I did recommend that we might go to a twice per month meeting. So that would be the change if you so adopt it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not prepared to make a motion, but I am prepared to make a remark, if you'll allow it.
Let's have a motion first, if we
All
could,
right.
please.
A motion to deny the chairman's request for a meeting to schedule, the current meeting schedule.
Support for discussion.
Okay. As you know, previous to this Board of Commissioners and the previous Board of Commissioners to that, we used to meet twice a week on the first two weeks. Those meetings were going 2 hours long each. Then we would go into Ways and Means, which would go about 3 hours, and then our regular board meeting, which would go another 3 hours. And then the Board of Commissioners had a thought that we can combine 2 meetings together for the 1 week, in which we have done, Resource Management Administration, for example, Health and Public Safety, and created a consent calendar. And with the hope that that would accelerate the time that we're using at our meetings for more important issues other than departmental reports. And the departmental reports will be placed in the agenda item. As you know, most of the time that we have spent in these weekly meetings have been extensive. There's more issues before us than ever before, and it's not uncommon to have a 3-hour meeting per one of these meetings that we've been had, that we have already combined once. I am not prepared to vote to combine 2 more meetings and stay here 5 hours or 6 hours when that's not really necessary, and we're going to feel rushed because the agenda is going to be so long and there's going to be so much to present. And you compound that with the major item that we've got to deal with in 2014 and 2015, and that's the budget, which is going to create more meetings and longer hours for us. And I've heard one commissioner indicate that he thought that we could potentially put the budget meetings along with these combined meetings. Some of us work for a living. You sit in this chair any more than 3 hours, you lose your creativity, your vision, and whatever is going on in your day, and you've had it. I can't vote for going into 5 and 6 hour meetings, and I don't think the public would want that either. The other issue is, and I think it's the bigger issue of the whole thing, is that the beauty of meeting weekly for the hours that we've been doing has given the public a lot of notice, the press, the media, of what we're talking about and what we're preliminary recommending. And if you cut that into 2 board meetings, they have no time to react to what decisions are going to be made and deliberate, so we can take their feelings under consideration. And there are many times during the month that we make a preliminary recommendation at one of our weekly meetings, and it gets further discussed at the end of the board meeting, and it gets changed, or it gets changed dramatically. So for the sense of transparency, for the sense of having the public aware of what we're preliminary discussing, with a preliminary recommendation, and getting the final, what you might want to call impact feelings of the public and the media and the press about what we do up here in these chambers, that would completely dismantle this whole process. I think the system and the schedule we got works. We sit here long enough for those meetings, with an average of 3 hours or longer. And I just, I don't criticize you for attempting to do more consolidation, especially when we have to create more meetings for budgets. But I can't support combining, when we've already combined these meetings, and staying here longer to the point where we're here 5 to 6 hours. It just isn't feasible for the people in a lot of in this room here that work for a living, have responsibilities and other things to get done that day.
Chris?
I am going to agree with Commissioner Inman, primarily for several reasons. One is when there was very little on the agenda for public health and safety over the summer months, I did choose as chairman of that committee to not have those meetings. And Commissioner Rennie called it to my attention that the public was looking for these meetings every week, and the public does follow our weekly schedule, and our meetings have been lengthy, and I hesitate to extend them even further into the evening. So for those reasons, I will be agreeing with Commissioner Inman's motion.
Mr. Lathrop?
I think some of the reason why you decided to change it or offer a change is to save money, and I think it would. However, I think we shouldn't change our meeting schedule yet, because we don't even know what we're going to ask of the departments in terms of costs and things like that. Let's pretend we come up with a 5% cut across the board for our departments for budget reasons. Then we can apply that same template to us, a 5% cut. To make these changes for financial reasons now, I think is a bit premature. So I am against changing it at this point.
Any other comments? Sonny?
Well, I would certainly be willing to try this. I've been here long enough to remember when we met at Tuesday mornings at 7:30 and Wednesday mornings at 7:30. And then we made the switch to Wednesday nights as a combined meeting. The public was able to pick up on that change. I believe the public would be able to pick up on this change. Yes, I do believe that sometimes we have lengthy meetings, but there is hardly ever one of our committee meetings that we don't take at least one action during the course of that evening that is a decision of the board as a whole, and do the roll call vote so as it becomes binding at that point. I think with a little education and, a little constraint, if you will, on our parts about, how much extra discussion that we need to have on some issues, we could get this done in one night. Sure, we may have 3 to 4 hour meetings, but I highly disagree that the average length of our committee meetings is 3 hours, because there's consistently meetings that are running around an hour to an hour and a half. meetings, if we go back and look at the length of our average meetings. We're not 3 hours a week. We're less than that on an average. So I believe we can make this happen. I'd certainly like to try it. Dan, you are right. It will save us significant money. There's no two ways around it. We have less per diems, less mileage, less staff time. Bonnie has to get staff in here to record the meetings. Bob Cooney's got to get staff in here to deal with his stuff. David and Dean and Jen are all tied up here at extra meetings. If we could free those people up to do something different, even though, they are salaried employees, not hourly employees, if we could free them up to do their regular job, I'd certainly like to try it. If it doesn't work, we always have the ability at any time to change this rule back.
Charlie?
I'm more with the folks that are worried about the public input. I think we're in very contentious times. We've got a budget. We have this pending obligations, unfunded stuff. There's been a lot of public input on those issues. I don't think we want to curtail that. Also, we're involved in a situation right now on an Open Meetings Act situation. I don't know if this exacerbates that or not. I think we should look at the perspective from the public a little bit more. I'd like to have less meetings, so I think we could do it in less meetings. I just don't know if at this moment is the time to do it.
The reason why I did this is because I think we should be taking the leadership role. We're looking at having of all of our budgets, all of our individual departments look at budget cuts. In response to Commissioner Lathrop, we cannot cut our budget, our pay in the middle of the season.
I know that.
So, this is a way for us to reduce our budget by close to $10,000. Because we're going to reduce per diems by 3 meetings per month, times the 7 commissioners, times 12 months. And then also, we have security at the front door that has to be at every one of our meetings. We also have to pay for televising our meetings. It's amazing to me how we can take and do this. We're going to have additional meetings because of all the budgets. And we can fill those our dates are going to be filled. And, you talk about people being employed, you're going to add probably 10 more meetings in the first 3 months that we're going to be putting on this. We can always add additional meetings. If we see that the agendas are full, all we have to do is add another week, another meeting. We can do that without any problem at all. All it takes is 3 commissioners to say, yeah, we got to do this. We look at the agenda. If the agenda looks like it's going to be overly filled, then we schedule another meeting. Last year, every year we've done our regular board meetings at the end of the month, and all it is a regurgitation of all the meetings that we've done for the first 3 weeks. And I just think that we don't need to do a double meeting for some of those issues. I really think it's important that we, as commissioners, take a leadership role and say, you know what, we're going to get our work done in a shorter period of time because we're going to become more efficient, and we need to be able to do that. Mr. Thomas.
You won't be cutting per diems by 2, you'll be cutting them by
3.
You won't be getting paid for either meeting.
Right. That's correct.
Every meeting you come here is
Right, but
because
that's
they're
why you-
regular meetings, you'll be.
That's why we'd be reducing by 3 meetings, the per diems.
Well, I don't have any big problem with trying it, but I don't think it's gonna work because we're not gonna have enough time to do everything in 2 meetings.
I just asked to try it. That's all I'm asking. Any other discussion? Roll call vote,
Could we
please.
just make sure everybody understands the motion
The motion is to
Motion is
deny
not-
the change in the meeting schedule.
as presented by the chairman?
Commissioner Inman,
No.
Oh, wait.
You
wanna
just
say yes?
voted against your own motion.
I'm sorry. Thank you, yes.
Too early in the morning.
Thomas,
I'm gonna say that yes, but I really
Wheelock,
don't care.
No?
Max Bauer,
Yes.
Lathrop,
Yes.
Rennie,
Yes.
Lemko.
No. Motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we continue the same meeting schedule as in 2013 for the Board of Commissioners. And then we'll just have to publish the correct dates. I
second
mean,
it.
we never do public, at the beginning of the meeting, we never publish our committees of the whole. We just publish the Board of Commissioners meetings end of the month.
Just hand them out, Chris.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
This is the meetings, or this is the same thing you have, but it's with everything
Oh, okay,
the
good.
same.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
So a motion to continue the meetings as we have done in the past, is that the correct
As,
motion?
yeah, the same sequence in meetings.
Okay.
As in Article 13, as being presented.
And I have support?
Dan did.
Okay.
Yeah, Dan did.
I have discussion. No discussion, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Lathrop?
Yes.
Rennie?
Yes.
Inman?
Yes.
Lemko?
No. Okay, next, that's approved. Next is the adoption of standing rules.
Move to approve the standing rules of the Board of Commissioners, Rule 14, as indicated in Rule 13.
I'll support.
Support by Max Bauer. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Next, appointment to standing committees. You've got it on your board here, that's same as last year. Motion to approve those
So moved.
by Thomas, support by Max Bauer.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, that is the same committees as last year.
As last year, that's correct.
All right.
So I have a motion to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
We got to discuss it.
Sorry about that.
I think we should make a change in parks, period.
We can't.
We can't. According to the prosecutor, we can't do it.
There you go,
And
Chairman.
this is not for that anyway.
Chairman.
This is your
There's a
standing
hand.
committees here.
Standing committees, Charlie.
Standing committees.
Yeah.
Which is all committees of the whole, basically.
Right. Okay?
Not really, but go ahead.
No. This is the chart here that we're approving.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought you meant the
Yeah.
individual
No.
assignments. Okay, I agree.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Adoption of the annual resolution. Need a motion?
Hang on a minute here.
That's,
What page is it on?
21.
Going there.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to pass the resolution permitting the treasurer to waive administrative fees and interest charges on delinquent taxes for senior citizens and others specified as allowed by law in the state of Michigan.
Support.
Motion to approve and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Next is the appointment of the Audit Committee. Same appointments and times as we had last year.
Yeah.
Motion by Inman, support by Thomas. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Next is the commission appointments, assignments for 2014. I did make a couple of recommendations for approval, but since we've been notified that the Parks and Recreation is for a 2-year appointment, so Max Bauer will continue to be appointed to Parks and Recreation.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that the
I did make another change.
Oh, okay.
Do we want to move, Sonny, do you want to move back to the
Resource recovery?
resource recovery? So,
So that will make all of the commissioners' appointments exactly the same as they were in 2013, and I would make that motion, please.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioner Rennie.
I guess we have to go by the legality of the thing, but we have a big issue at Parks. It's time for someone to stand up and address it. It's in the paper, it's everywhere. I've talked with Parks people. There's an issue there. And I don't know why we can't take a look at that. I mean, we are sitting here in front of the public, I read it in the paper, I read it everywhere. I don't think it's been handled very well. I think there's a disconnect between this board and the Parks Board. And I don't see it getting any better going forward.
Well, I would hope that we can work on making it better. So, have a motion to appointments for 2014 and a support. Do I have any more discussion? Mr. Wheelock?
I believe that one of the key pieces, and I understand that we've got budget meetings and everything else to deal with in the first part of 2014. I think one of our key problems that we have as far as the disconnect, and I absolutely agree there's a disconnect between the Parks Board and the Board of Commissioners. I think a joint meeting with that board is absolutely essential to discuss the strategic plan that has been passed by the Parks Board, whether that is in agreement with the County Board of Commissioners as to the direction that we want our community to be going. You know, we know we've changed the number of memberships on the Parks and Recreation Board. I'm not even sure if the strategic plan as has been adopted is in agreement with the Parks Board anymore. So I think, you know, that is a document that is supposed to direct Parks and Recreation in our community for 5 years. And, you know, it was passed by the Parks Board. The County Board of Commissioners basically rubber stamped it. We really never had much discussion over it. We had no joint meeting with the Parks Board over it. We just agreed to allow the Parks and Recreation Commission to direct recreational activities in our community. I think a joint meeting with the Parks and Recreation Board is absolutely essential as early as we can get it scheduled in 2014.
Chris?
I certainly support Commissioner Wheelock in that recommendation.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Next on the agenda is old business. Next is new business. New business would be talking about the additional of...
Right. I believe the commission wanted to talk about some sort of schedule that we can get on our calendars for the budget meetings from January going forward.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we can just open up our calendars, or is that something you want to do right now?
I do.
Okay. You know, because the township meetings and our Board of Commissioners meetings and stuff, it seems like the only day that's, if it's a day meeting, would be on Wednesdays, and if it's going to be an evening meeting, it might have to be on a Thursday, but it can't be like on the fourth Thursday where Fife Lake Township.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we schedule budget meetings on Wednesdays from 4 to 6. We'll have a 1-hour break from 6 to 7, and then we'll have our committee Board of Commissioners meetings.
I'll support.
That gives us 4 meetings a month, 2 hours a night to get through this.
Yeah, I like it.
Commissioner Rennie?
How long is it going to take to get it done?
Well,
Hopefully
2
90
weeks.
90 days.
2 weeks.
It's mostly done now.
I would suggest, first of all, why do we need 7 people at these various meetings? Why can't we split this committee in half? Our chairman attends all the meetings to tie it together. We cut the time in half. I would suggest that then a meeting every week, cut it in half again and get this done. We're going to stretch this out for 3 months. I looked at Dave's estimate of times. I don't think there's enough time there. Now for the questions we're going to be wanting to ask. 15 minutes? Not near enough. It's going to stretch over that. We should compress this, get this done. Any extra time we have, we should look at our strategic plan, start looking at our facilities and some things like that, instead of just using this time for that.
Mr. Thomas?
Why don't we try it this way and see how things go? You want to set meetings here for, go on for 6 months. What if it don't take but 2 or 3 weeks?
I'd like to get it done in 2 or 3 weeks.
Well,
Let's do it.
You can.
Mr. Lindman?
I'm in favor of the motion on the floor, Mr. Chairman, that the full Board of Commissioners meet from 4 to 6 every Wednesday until we get this thing completed.
That's fine.
You know, I've been there where we've had a breakout of 4 commissioners or 3 commissioners to do the work of the full board, and it just complicated the whole situation because the full board was not involved in the entire discussion, and then questions then we had to go back and repeat everything that the other committee wanted to do and why, and it eventually had hard feelings, I think, for some people because they weren't even involved in in a lot of important discussions. That's why we went to a committee of the whole, so everybody's involved, and we don't have to repeat everything over again. So I want the full board there to discuss and meet with all the departments when we're all together, because if we break it up, it just complicates it to heck.
Mr. Latham.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of torn with the idea. I look at what we did in our last budget meetings when we were all here, and I don't think we were very effective. I am attracted to an ad hoc committee that just the process of looking at this budget. We haven't decided how we're going to do it, what template we're going to use yet. The idea of bringing the departments in front of us, one after another, without us having a process decided ahead of time on what we're going to ask them to do, for instance. You know, I was talking with Dean. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but it looks like we're going to have to come up with somewhere between $1.5 million and $2 million out of our budget in a structural sense from now on, year after year after year. I think we need to come up with that number first. How much do we need to save? And then we need to come up with a template using that number that we apply to our various departments. So the method that we use, we have to come up with that. And I'm thinking that an ad hoc committee can come up with that method and maybe that number that we need. Then we have the meetings seeing all these different departments.
Sonny?
Well, you know, my suggestion will be, you know, after, if this is approved, that our first meeting is just the 7 commissioners and critical staff, so as that we establish that process. I think that's first. But I think it's absolutely essential that we, all 7 of us, are involved in the meetings with the departments so we understand exactly what it is they do. And we need to, before we can determine what that number is, Dan, we need to know what services are being provided by our departments that we all deem to be essential. Because if they're non-essential services, then we can look at cutting them out. And then we'll know what our number, when we eliminate the non-essential services, then we'll know what the number is we need to come up with to pay for the services that we believe to be essential. But I think the process has to be, the 7 of us have to come into some sort of an agreement of where we want to go with this budget. That's the first piece. But I think it's absolutely critical that all 7 of us are involved with this discussions with departments as to what services they provide and whether those services are essential or not. And, you know, again, I remind you, there's not a service that we provide in this community that someone doesn't depend on. So we are going to affect the service to the public.
Yeah.
It has to happen. We cannot cut $1.5 million out of this budget or $1 million out of this budget without cutting personnel. And when we cut personnel, we're going to lose service. 85% of our budget is personnel costs. You can't cut $1.5 million unless somebody's going to lose their job.
Other discussions? Mr. Rennie?
I came from private industry. When we had issues, we put people in a room, we got it done. You didn't need 25 people, you needed a few people. You come together then and put your results together. We have a chairman that could coordinate this, get this done. We could compress this study and we could get it done in half the time. And I don't understand why we're not doing it. That's money too. That's service too.
I'm willing to do it. Would you, rather than wait till Wednesday the 8th, would you rather have a meeting on the Monday the 6th to talk about the direction that we want to go into and how we want to do it? We can do that during the daytime?
I was going to say, I have a city commission meeting Monday night.
I know, I'm talking about daytime. So,
I think, you know, I think in order to be consistent with schedules, if we simply move this to next Wednesday, you know, that would be the 8th, and we meet at 4 to 6 as per the motion, we should be able to get this hammered out. But we have to have a commitment from everybody that they're going to be prepared to make these hard decisions. Because if over the years, I've sat on a lot of different committees and different boards in a lot of different places, and, there comes a point sometimes where people just don't want to make a decision, and they keep saying, okay, I don't have enough information to make a decision. I've sat on boards with people that you could haul them information by a dump truck load, and they still couldn't make a decision. We have to have a commitment to make decisions.
My only concern here is that I don't think we've got a short enough time frame. I think if we should do it more than once a week.
I'm fine
I
with
really
that.
feel-
I agree with
I
you.
really feel we need to be scheduling more than once a week meetings.
Then we won't be using up as much of our fund balance that we were borrowing.
I would, just thumbs up here.
Me too.
I mean, I would be fine with 4 to 6 on Tuesday and Wednesday, to be honest with you.
I have a very, very busy schedule in the middle of the week, and I'm tired of putting our schedule around someone who's got to travel on the weekends. There's Monday and there's Friday. Okay? I
There's
sit on
also-
Northern Lakes Community Health. After that Wednesday, I got to set my ass for 6 hours the next day with 200 pages to prepare, and I'm done with it.
There's Saturdays too.
Saturday would be fine. Any day except the middle of the week.
Okay.
Saturdays
There's
are
more than
good.
one person on this board.
I mean, we can meet the Saturday, the 11th, start at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Saturdays are fine.
That's fine with me.
First 90 days, that's fine. I don't care.
Want to
9,
do Wednesday and Saturday?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask,
dig
can we
it.
do Saturday afternoon instead of morning?
it's got to be morning, yeah.
Whatever the board has wishes.
I'm flexible.
Well, I have a business to run in the morning. I'm open till 8 to 12. So, I understand.
What's wrong with Friday? You got an issue with Friday?
Do you want to do 4 to 6 on Friday?
What, depends on how many meetings we're going to have a week.
Yeah.
4 to 6 on Friday is fine.
Or
No, I'd rather
mornings
do 1
on
to 5
Friday.
on Saturday than 4 to 6 on Friday, personally.
I'm fine
but-
with either one.
I mean, morning,
Toss a coin.
Friday mornings are fine with me. There's absolutely nothing on the calendar Friday morning.
That I can't do. I've got patients Friday morning.
Oh.
But,
So I
Saturday
have a
af-
motion on the floor for Wednesdays.
All right, well, let's
Let's just
vote
get
on
that- let's
that, and
just
then
get
we'll
on
talk
that
about
one
the
first.
second
We'll
one.
talk about the second meeting.
All those in favor of the motion to do a meeting from 4 to 6 on Wednesdays, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wheelock?
Yes.
Max Bauer?
Yes.
Lathrop?
yes.
Rennie?
No.
Inman?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Lemko?
Motion's
I'm
carried.
sorry, I didn't catch yours.
I said no. Motion passes. Do I have another motion? For Fridays or Saturdays?
My preference is just to get through January and see if we can snap this thing out.
I can do Friday afternoons.
Sonny, how's Friday afternoons for you?
Payday.
Whatever it decides. That's done by 6 o'clock in the morning, so it's not an issue.
It's not that done.
All right.
Thursday afternoons?
I would move that we have budget meetings Friday afternoons, starting at 2 o'clock, 2 to 4? 1 to 5.
How about 4 to 6?
Dickie, give me a time.
4 to
Friday
6.
afternoons.
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
4 to
Let's be
6.
consistent.
All right, 4 to 6.
Christ, you ruined my day.
I have a motion to do Friday afternoons, 4
I'll
to
bring you
6.
pie.
Do I have a support?
No.
Support.
Support by
Jesus
Rennie.
Christ.
Any other discussion?
Well, I think Friday from 4 to 6 is just horrible for families and people and the public.
Saturdays
I
are
just-
bad, too.
It just,
Public don't have to go through this.
the public should be here for this.
Oh,
You know how hectic it is between 4 and 6 on Friday for the American family? I mean, you couldn't have picked a worse time. I'm not going to vote for it, but.
Any other discussion, Sonny?
I think the question has to be is whether we have the commitment to get this thing done.
That's right.
If we do, we can be in here, 8 Wednesdays and 3 Fridays, and we're done.
I mean, I don't know why we
No,
can't
I-
do Thursday afternoon, 4 to 6. I'm
They got
fine with
meetings
that.
on Thursday.
Community mental health's on Thursdays.
Jesus.
Do it Thursday morning.
I'll gladly drop that and come in here. So-
Do it Thursday morning. Do it Tuesday.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have any more discussion? I'm going to call a roll call vote.
Max Bauer,
Yes.
What's the motion?
4 to 6 on Fridays.
Lathrop,
Yes.
Rennie,
Yeah.
Inman,
No.
Thomas,
Yep.
Wheelock,
Yes.
Lemkool.
Yep. So we have 2 meetings scheduled for the next, how long it takes? Do I have to have a special request for these meetings, or are we just scheduling them for the next 3 months?
Yeah.
As long as
No.
you're scheduling it with this meeting.
As long as
Okay,
needed.
we'll schedule them. So we're scheduling them. For the next 3 months, it's Wednesdays and Fridays from 4 to 6.
If we get done before that, we can
Right.
terminate the meetings.
Everybody comfortable with that? Anybody else want to make any other motions?
Motion to adjourn.
We have public comment notices to deal with.
Next on the agenda is public comment. Seeing none, any notices?
Do we have any discussion?
Have any other discussion?
Yeah, can we or not?
Ken, yeah?
Okay, I'd like to suggest that because of what we've seen on this board here the last couple months and what we read in the paper, we have an appearance of impropriety according to the PAO, that our chair chairs all meetings.
Can't.
You've already approved the standing
He
committee.
wanted me to chair all meetings. We just have special committee, all the budget meetings will be chaired by me. All these special meetings will be chaired by me. But we still will have public safety, resource management, and ways and means, and those will be chaired by the individual chairmen.
Right.
I'm not happy.
Too bad it is.
No, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not
it's too bad. It's gonna
In fact, I will
happen.
tell you something. The guy who did that RMA meeting last month should be ashamed. That's why we need to change.
Mr.
That's why we have
Chairman.
appearance of impropriety here.
Mr. Chairman,
Excuse
I
me.
object to this.
Excuse
You know, if this commissioner continues to on this way, I would like
tell
him
you what.
removed from these chambers.
Excuse me. No.
You try it.
No, we should have an
all
officer
right.
come to this
I'm
meeting
going
and
to
remove
shut
him
this
for
conversation
disruptive
off.
Thank you,
behavior.
Mr. Chairman.
Disruptive. It
Next,
disrupts
is there
the
any other
meeting.
notices? At this time, we will go for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.